For coming. Good afternoon, Minister and Deputy Minister of the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture. We know that this media briefing has been long coming. We've heard some of you when you were coming in that you've been waiting for this for a very long time. Minister and DM, thank you very much for asking us to organize it, because the media really wants to hear from us as a department in terms of what are the programs that we have, what is it that we are doing. There are very important issues that are out there in the domain of the public, and they would want to know what is happening. The program is really not going to be a very long program. I'm now going to call the Minister to start and talk to us. Minister.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Zimas. Let me greet the Honorable Deputy Minister, Peace Mabe. I always say, I do all the fun stuff, and she does all the hard work. Members of the media, good afternoon. Members of the media, fellow South Africans, colleagues and friends. Let me start with an issue that has dominated headlines over the past few weeks, the so-called yellow card blunder that threatened to derail Bafana Bafana's World Cup qualification campaign. When I heard that our national team has been docked 3 points, I requested the full report from SAFA following our successful World Cup qualification. Just because we survived the scare, many wanted us to just sweep it under the carpet. They didn't want us to further investigate what happened. I wrote to FIFA, firstly, to apologize for the embarrassment caused and to acknowledge that this was about ensuring accountability and that it would never happen again. South Africans deserve answers. I've given SAFA 7 days to give us answers as South Africa, to make sure this never happens again. SAFA has complied with my ask and has completed its investigation. They provided me with a very comprehensive investigation, and I can report today that we now have full clarity on what happened. The report confirms that this was not an act of negligence or sabotage, but rather a strange and highly unusual set of coincidences. The 2 yellow cards issued to Teboho Mokoena came 16 months apart, an almost unheard of gap. Team manager Vincent Tseka, who has taken responsibility for the oversight, despite numerous extenuating circumstances. He was not present when the second card was issued, as he has left the field to fetch ice for the players. That extraordinary coincidence tells us something deeper, that our national team is operating under immense strain with far too few hands doing far too much work. Despite the tremendous progress on the field and positive results, Bafana Bafana are still under-resourced. That's the uncomfortable truth. I commend SAFA for being transparent, and I agree that now is not a time to make a martyr or a scapegoat out of anyone, including Mr. Tseka, who works hard and loves this team. He deserves our support, and I'm fairly confident that we will not see a repeat of this strange blunder. All that we must now do is to unite behind our team. We have now gone 24 games unbeaten. Let us give Bafana Bafana our full support, the players, the coaches, and yes, the officials. Mistakes happen, and a mistake happened in this case. with many circumstances, and I can tell you there was consequence management. Warnings, final written warnings has been given, lessons have been learned, and I'm asking the South African soccer-loving public that we must move forward, and we must move forward stronger. In that spirit, I want to make one point clear. I understand what is FIFA stance on interfering. Many thought we are interfering. We never, asking questions is not interfering. We know what we are doing as a government. Hence, we wrote to FIFA, hence we wrote to SAFA, and we said, investigate and report back. And I must tell you, many people will say to me, and I speak very candidly now, you must get rid of Danny. I don't have such powers as a minister. All I have was to say to Danny Jordan, I am the minister now. You'll have my full support, but that support shall end if you don't qualify for the World Cup, if you don't qualify for the African Nations Cup, and if you don't qualify for WAFCON. He shook my hand and he said, thanks for your support, and I even think if I don't do that, I think I will step back. Ladies and gentlemen, he has done that. He has done that, and for that I am grateful. I also want our players, our soccer players, compared to other sporting codes, our players don't enjoy the same type of rewards that other codes get. Particularly women's sport, as the DM is fighting tirelessly for women's sport in this country. So in the spirit of us moving on, we've qualified for the World Cup, we are going to America, we want to ignite that spirit in our players. Because we know to prepare for the African Nations Cup is difficult. There's no sponsors. Sometimes salaries come late. So in that spirit, myself and Deputy Minister Peace Mabe would like to announce that in recognition of the incredible success we have seen under the revitalized Hugo Bruce and Helman Mkelele, we will be transferring 5 million to Bafana Bafana players to support the Bafana Bafana squad and in preparation. So 5 million will be going to the players in preparation for the African Nations Cup, in preparation for the World Cup. Since we also recognize that other teams have also made us extremely proud in recent months, we will be making support payments to the players, and this I must give all honor to the Deputy Minister. When she heard Bafana Bafana is getting money, she said, over my dead body if Banyana gets nothing. So I don't want to take the honor for that. Banyana will get 1 million rand, the players of Banyana. The national under-20 football team, Amajita, will get 1 million. The female Proteas will get 1 million. The women's national rugby team will get 1 million. And the under-17 football team currently competing in Qatar at the World Cup, the Amajimbos, will receive 500,000. As we look ahead to the African Cup of Nations in Morocco, this December and January, and the World Cup next year in the USA, Mexico and Canada, the message from me as Minister and Deputy Minister is simple. Let us stand behind our team. But we must also be honest. Part of the problem is inadequate staffing and support. I therefore call on corporate South Africa and all potential sponsors to step up. Step up and help Bafana Bafana. They've done their part. We must do our part now. No federation can survive without sponsorship. So I'm calling on corporate South Africa to stand behind Bafana Bafana in the same manner that is standing behind South African rugby, South African cricket. The majority of people of this country, we are a soccer nation more than any other sport. Soccer has the biggest following, and we are asking corporate South Africa today. I can assure corporate South Africa that SAFA has been very transparent with the department, how, without asking, they will come to us, share their challenges with us, telling us, Minister, this is where we're having a problem. Deputy Minister, this is where we're having a problem. So we need you to do your part as corporate South Africa, and government will still do their part in us going to the World Cup. I also call on South Africans to go out and buy the official team jerseys and wear them on Fridays. And don't buy your jersey at a traffic light and act surprised, is this not original? There's no original at a traffic light. So go out and get your original t-shirt so that we can have Fridays where our players can feel our love and our support. So that we can lift the AFCON trophy in January. We came so close last time, and this team has only improved under Hugo Bruce. So we have reasons to expect greatness from them and to believe. I want to stand here and be one of the people that will eat humble pie. With the appointment of Hugo Bruce, like many of you, I said, where are they bringing this old man to? And that man has proved to us that we have the best coach going to the World Cup. The next issue I want to talk about is VAR, the introduction of VAR. In that same spirit of progress and professionalism, I also want to update South Africans on another important development, the rollout of video assistant referee technology, VAR, in South African football. SAFA has recently appointed a VAR project team led by respected former referee, Mr. Daniel Bennett, alongside respected figures in football refereeing, Victor Gomez, Mr. Victor Gomez, Mr. Jerome Demon, and Abdul Ibrahim, SAFA's head of referees. The team has been working closely with FIFA and the International Football Board, Association Board, to ensure that South Africa implements VAR in full compliance with international standards. As per our initial meeting with Mr. Bennett, the ministry is overseeing and controlling all initial project funding until the system is fully established and stable. Strict financial controls are in place, with at least 3 independent signatories to authorize any transaction related to the rollout. The plan is for SAFA to submit the initial infrastructure and setup budget to the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture before 31 March 2026, the end of our financial year. This is a complex and ambitious project, but it is essential. VAR is not just about correcting referee errors. It's about protecting the integrity of our game, restoring our trust, and ensuring that South African football meets global standards. We are proud to be working hand in hand with SAFA, FIFA, and CAF, and bring VAR to our leagues and to set a benchmark for the rest of Africa. Treasury has approved initial spend of more than 20 million in this financial year. And we are confident that we will face VAR in using a sustainable, affordable approach that will see all our big games supported by VAR. And South Africans can already look forward to seeing VAR on the screens as we test and prove the solution that has been chosen. So next year, you'll be seeing VAR as we are testing this system. So when we introduce it next season, it must be foolproof, Our referees must understand it. I also want to use this opportunity to bring, as they say, respect, admiration to the President of CAF, President Patrice Motsepe. He's a product of South Africa, and he has changed the face of CAF. He has changed the balance sheet. He has brought sponsors to CAF. He has changed the game, and it will only be a fool that cannot see the marvelous work done by Patrice Motsepe. So to the President of CAF, we know you are the President of the whole of Africa, Confederation of African Football, but it makes us proud to know that you are a child of the soil of South Africa. So we want to congratulate him, and we want him to know that we are proud of the work that he has brought. As far as VAR is concerned, we cannot have such great soccer teams. We have the greatest soccer teams on the continent. And they compete with teams like Morocco that has VAR. So for us, our teams playing in Africa, Chiefs, Pirates, Sundowns, Stellenbosch, we stand behind you only during those games that you play against African countries. I want to, before I go to sports funding, accountability, I have been quoted that I don't support Nigeria to qualify for the World Cup. I was not misquoted. I wish for another African country to qualify. I have the right to have a preference amongst all our African countries that we love. Nigeria is unfortunately not my preference, while the other African countries are my preference. So I'm not going to deny that I have indeed uttered the words that I hope that Nigeria does not qualify. I hope for other African countries to beat them when they face Nigeria. I have nothing against Nigerians. I have a preference like any other sports-loving person or minister on this continent. Show me a minister that doesn't have a preference. I saw when I watched the Zimbabwe game, I couldn't believe it. When I saw the leadership of Zimbabwe football jumping for joy when we didn't qualify after the Zimbabwean game. I wasn't angry because I understand they have preferences. They were very happy that they thought they disqualified us. But the devil is a liar. We managed to qualify despite the Zimbabweans not wanting us to qualify, and we still love them on the soccer field. This is the game of soccer. We shall get our revenge when we meet them very soon. We shall revenge on the field. It's all sportsmanlike, so I'm not going to deny. As one journalist sitting here asked me a question last night, can you talk about Nigeria? I do not want them to qualify. I hope they don't qualify. But they have a very strong striker there. Oshiman, I think it is. Osman. Osimhen, not Oshiman, Osimhen. He scores goals. I mean, he put goals in. I also want to stop the lie that Nigeria has helped South Africa. No. Nigeria has helped Nigeria. South Africa has helped South Africa. Thank you very much. Accountability in sports funding. This brings me to another contentious issue that has caused some controversy this year. The perceived funding cuts to certain sports federations. Let me be very clear. These were not random cuts. There was good reason to withhold some of the allocations. And that reason is accountability. Government cannot interfere in the administration of the sport, but we also cannot continue to fund maladministration. It cannot be business as usual. It will not be business as usual under Peace Mabe and Gayton McKenzie. Take the example of Basketball South Africa. This sport should be booming in this country. Our young people love it, and it has become one of the fastest growing and supported sports in schools. We should have thriving leagues, packed arenas, and homegrown stars making their way into the NBA. Instead, basketball is in the ICU in South Africa. Last year, when Basketball South Africa bungled the hosting of the FIBA Under-18 Afro-Basket tournament, they turned to government to bail them out a week before the tournament. We spent more than 18 million to rescue that event and protect South Africa's reputation. Afterwards, I asked SASCOC to investigate and take strong action. We waited for months, only to be told that our complaint had been registered as a dispute. That's not good enough for me. That's not good enough for Peace Mabe. How can the concerns of a department that recognizes all the federations be considered a dispute? We are not one child's angry mother writing emails fuming about why her son wasn't picked for the basketball team. We are government. When the department eventually made the decision to withdraw the recognition of Basketball South Africa as a federation, SASCOC simply carried on working with the same federation and its leadership as if nothing has happened, and despite the implication that an unrecognized federation would not be able to send athletes to compete in international events. This is unacceptable. How can we be expected to believe that sports administration is healthy in this country when you can have situations like that? So when people ask why we are tightening funding and demanding accountability, this is why. How can we talk about healthy sports governance when such things are allowed to happen? But I also want to be fair. We are not walking away from our federations. Quite the opposite. We've been meeting one-on-one with the presidents and executives of all federations, a process that is ongoing and has been enormously constructive. In fact, many cases, those meetings have led to increased funding after successfully engaging with us, like netball, athletics, cycling, karate, motorsport, mountain club, pedal sport, rowing, sailing, surfing, deaf sport, Q sport, badminton, transport sport, and roller sport have already received their funding, while more are being processed. That's because we are an involved and caring ministry, and we see commitment, good governance, and results, we reward it. We are also giving more attention to smaller, neglected sporting codes that have been overlooked for too long. We are stopping the unacceptable era of athletes having to sell horse rolls to raise money. Parents have to take loans to take their children. But we have super fans that travel to tournaments. Those days are over. The ministry is serious about fairness, transparency, and impact. Change is never easy, but it is necessary. And even SASCOC cannot say we've abandoned them. We funded Team South Africa participation in the AUSC Region 5 Games, and we are now, this week, providing another additional 9 million rand for participation in the 4th Africa Youth Games in Angola. Team South Africa won 106 medals at the last African Games. I know the current crop of athletes participating again this year will once again make South Africa proud. I want to come back and say, corporates must assist. I want to single out 3 corporates. I want to single out SASO, who we met, and they continue the funding of our women's football. I want to single out Honor, who myself and the Deputy Minister met, and today they are supporting our football. Betway Cares. These are companies that has taken the step. We are asking more companies to come in and support and have this type of collaboration. Infrastructure and access. We are also investing heavily in sports infrastructure. The department is rolling out combi courts in private schools at a rate never seen before, at a pace never seen before. And we are working with private sector partners to expand this. Too many of our stars in South Africa come from Model C and private schools. Some of our greatest talent is sitting in rural areas and in poorer schools and townships. But infrastructure doesn't speak to the recognition of that talent. Something is wrong in the ecosystem. If the private schools are the ones bringing out the creme de la creme, it's disadvantaging our children overall, and we're sending out the wrong message about the kind of country we are and want to be. We'll keep on investing in outdoor gyms throughout the country. We are working with municipalities to step up and recognize the importance of the infrastructure. Arts, culture, and heritage, the next point. Now let me turn to the work we're doing in arts, culture, and heritage, the soul of the nation. On 29 October, the President, His Excellency President Cyril Matamela Ramaphosa, state visit to Switzerland, President Karen Keller-Sutter of the Swiss Confederation handed over the Shiluvana family ancestral spiritual artifacts, returning a piece of our stolen heritage to its rightful home. On 13 October, I led a delegation of 10 community representatives from the Northern Cape Reburial Task Team to repatriate the ancestral human remains of our Khoi and San ancestors from the Antarian Museum at the University of Glasgow. A deeply spiritual ceremony was held under the guidance of Mr. Petrus Valboy. The remains arrived on 16 October, and we held a moving homecoming ceremony at the Iziko Museum of South Africa the next day. We are also still working hard to repatriate the remains of our liberation heroes from Lesotho, Angola, and Russia next. Our work in Angola has been our greatest challenge, but we remain committed to bring our fallen heroes home. Together with the Deputy Minister, want to make sure during our term we bring back all our fallen heroes. We are also proud of the work that we've been doing at Robben Island, and the progress continues to be made. At the end of September, we launched the emotionally charged Wall of Remembrance at the island's harbor. We launched 6 statues of Oshumato, Krutua, Nelson Mandela, Robert Sobukwe, Namibia's Andimba, Toivo, and Khotso Siahlolo. The Wall of Remembrance now bears 2,717 names of ex-political prisoners. Future plans for the island are vast and many. In the arts, we've established 17 sectors, with 14 already funded, and all boards appointed. The remaining 3 will be finalized soon, after resolving minor compliance matters. We also promised to secure office space for all the clusters and federations. I can confirm that the advert for the Sports, Arts and Culture House will be published before end of this month. It cannot be where South Africa don't have a sports house. People have their offices in the boot of a car. People have an office inside the office of the work where they're having. If he works at Nando's, he's running the federation from Nando's, like we're having a chicken federation, but it's a sports federation. We can't have that. We are now going to advertise a sports house for the first time. You as journalists can have proper meetings at the sports house with them. We are also in the process of introducing temporary insurance cover for all the eligible sports and arts practitioners. This will cover life, disability, funeral benefits, and education for dependents for the next 3 years. The evaluation of this bids has been completed and adjudication will soon be finalized. Our artists and our sports people die as paupers. We are being asked constantly back a body to bury our sports stars. If they die as paupers, their children's future are bleak. We are now stepping in while we're changing. We do understand that it's going to take more than a year to 2 years to change 30 years, 40 years of suffering. Our legends have no money. We get calls constantly, people being in hospital, and they need a mere 1,000 rand sometimes to be admitted. It can't be like that. We are seized with that, and hence we're bringing out a 3-year insurance policy, life cover, benefits for the children. This means that as a department, the reactive scrambling that occurs whenever one of our sports stars or legends fall sick or die will be replaced by benefits that are structured and fair and makes a peaceful and lasting difference. In conclusion, I wish to assure South Africa that the Department of Sport, Arts and Culture is making a difference and real tangible progress will continue to be delivered. We are moving, we are challenging old systems like going to a football game and you can't use your phone. We are in the process of putting in connectivity at all stadiums so that not only journalists can do their work, but if the girl child goes to soccer, she can be in contact with, or to rugby, or to cricket, she can talk to her family and say she's still safe. It cannot be that our soccer fields cut us, or our sports visits cut us off from the rest of the world. People want to take pictures and send of the sports stars. And I want to assure South Africa that we are working on that. We're also working on stadium safety. We're also working on the train and rail system together with Minister Creasy, who has done a great job in making sure that games at Ellis Park, Transnet, is available for the trains. As you saw, that is all work done by Minister Creasy. And we really, that is what the GNU is about, where sports and transport meet. We are meeting with education, hence why we're rolling out all of this in schools. I couldn't have done that if it wasn't because of Minister Khwarube giving me permission as the Minister of Education. So that is the benefit of the government of national unity. We are working together. We're even working nicely when you guys are not there. But sometimes when some of us see the cameras, you behave in a way that is, we get surprised sometimes, like, you know, I always say, I always share the story, DM. When I went to Japan, you know, as you all know, the DA and the PA, the party I belong to, we're fighting like cats and dogs. And I went to Japan just when we formed the GNU. And DP, His Excellency Paul Masatila, asked me, because Minister Gayton McKenzie couldn't make it, I said, maybe I can speak a little bit about mining because I've got vast knowledge when it comes to mining. He said, yeah, you will answer the mining questions. I said, thank you, Honorable. I got sick like a dog. I had flu. I went to the chemist. The gentleman, the chemist, doesn't understand Afrikaans or sign language. Not this sign language, street sign language. I tried to show him. I realized if I don't live here, I will live with birth control tablets. He'll be prescribing to me. I came back to the hotel. The first person I met was John Steenhuisen, Minister John Steenhuisen. He said, Minister, you look very unwell. What's wrong? I'm like, I'm sick. He says, stand right here. He ran up to his room. He came back, DM, with tablets. Half a chemist, like a whole. He said, take 2 before you sleep. After you eat, take 2 before you sleep, take 2 when you wake up, and take 2 of this, and he's giving me instructions. I wasn't even listening, because I knew there's no way I'm going to allow him to kill me so easily. So, as he was speaking, I didn't pay attention. I get to the room. I'm like, there's no way I'm drinking these things. So I jump in bed, I cannot sleep. I realize my head is throbbing with pain. So I said, I took a picture of the tablets. I sent home. I said, baby, if I don't wake up tomorrow morning, at 8:10, John Steenhuisen gave me this tablets. They must look at the hotel camera. I'll have to take it. So if I'm dead, it's him. I took the tablets. The next morning, I felt like $1 million. And I went to go hug John Steenhuisen. We are very collegial as the GNU. We are together as the GNU. We were there yesterday, we went for a retreat. I can tell you now where we were. We were the cradle of humankind. A hotel, boutique hotel. The president was there. All the parties. We were having big discussions, and we all agreed we'll move South Africa forward. We will hold hands. The GNU is more united than we've ever been. The issues we didn't agree on, when we came there, we left, we agreed on it. Any person that tells you they didn't agree on it is a liar. We are resolute, we are focused, we are going to change South Africa. So today the message is simple. Accountability and progress are not opposites, they are partners. Let us keep moving forward. And ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, we've been supporting rugby. Some of us were not even Springbok supporters. But rugby, under the leadership of SARU, President Mark Alexander, has truly become our top rugby, it's made us the top rugby nation in the world. Cricket, under Dr. Richards, we've become the top cricketing. Soccer, Bafana, eri tsibang. Bafana eri tsibang. Di Bafana wat ons ken. If you told me a year ago or 2 years ago, Bafana will go 24 games unbeaten, I would not have believed you. So, if you told me we're going to win, they become the African champions, under 20 African champions. If you told me that we're going to qualify for WAFCON, if you told me we're going to qualify for the World Cup, despite having points deducted, if you tell me we're going to qualify for the African Cup of Nations, I would have thought you smoked something. Or you've taken lots of those tablets that John Steenhuisen gave me. But we are a sporting nation. White people always loved rugby. And Xhosa people in the Eastern Cape always love rugby. Colored people in the Western Cape always like rugby. But white people was always in the forefront of rugby management in this country. But when Nelson Mandela said we must be one, rugby united us. And black people put their weight behind rugby. We want to see white people also with their Bafana t-shirts, as we have seen black people with the t-shirts of the Springboks. This is not fake unity. With sport, you can't be fake. You can't be fake with sport. So, thank you very much. I want to thank SAFA. They have done everything I've asked of them to do. I asked transparency. SAFA has been very transparent. And the CEO, Lydia, and Danny Jordan, they've been, whether you like them or not, I understand some of you can't get over what happened in the past. But I can tell you as the minister, great strides has been made. And we must admit that. Rugby before 2016 was also in the dustbin. But look at the rugby today. Look at our football today. We are a proud football nation. So let us support. And to the soccer lovers, I want to say, please go to the games. We can't have empty stadiums. We are a soccer nation. Thank you very much. You can ask any question. No question is offline. The DM and myself will answer any question that you have. We want to be transparent because that's what we expect from the federations. I also want to thank Bidvest that has been doing a lot for SASCOC. And SASCOC has been transparent in how they use the money. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Minister. Good governance, transparency, and accountability. That's what Minister is talking about. And now we're coming to the best part that we love as journalists, which is question time. So this is how we're going to do it. We're going to take one question per journalist per time. It doesn't mean that you're only going to ask one question. We're just trying to manage that you get the answer to the question that you've asked. Minister and DM are here to answer your questions. Then after the session, we will then have one-on-one interviews if there's a need for that. So when you have your hand up, you tell us the media house you're coming from, your name and the media house, you ask the question. So if you have two questions, tell me that you've got two questions, but we'll take one question at a time, and then Minister or DM will answer, and then we'll go to the next question. Is that okay, colleagues? Are we clear? Now it's the time that we love. time for questions. Any hands? Yes, sir. Yes.
Minister McKenzie, it's Christian from Netwerk 24. The question I want to ask Minister, it is around the issue of financing for the Voortrekker Monument. Why is there no more financing for the Voortrekker Monument as well as Afrikaans festivals, established festivals? Yes, that is my question. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Do you want me to answer in Afrikaans?
Yes.
All right. Die Voortrekker Monument is een van onze beste, nie alleenlik toeriste aantreklikhede nie, maar is ook 'n goed versorgde museum en monument. Ons het ongelukkig baie monumente en museums in hierdie land met akute versorging wat benodig is. En ons glo dat ons die monumente wat gebroken is, wat verspreid lê, wat in nie werkende toestand is, glo ons dat ons dit moet bring tot op werkende toestand. Ons is baie trots op die Afrikaans, op die taalmonument. Ons is baie trots oor Afrikaanse taal. Dis my eerste taal. Afrikaans geluk is hulle 100-jarigste verjaarsdagviering. Ons gaan nou Afrikaanse 100ste verjaarsdag vier in Namakwaland in die Noordkap. So jou tweede vraag, dit is 'n blaatante leen. As ek vir Saskok vra om vir ons te sê wat het hulle doen met die geld, en Saskok het vir ons gesê, hoekom kan ek nie vra van die verskillende vieringe, festivals? Hulle sit daar en hulle het ander borge, maar daar's mense in Mount Frere, in Langa en Guguletu, in Mitchells Plain, wat die borge het nie. So, ons kyk maar nou eers wie benodig dit die meeste. Ons het nie vir hulle geld gegee nie, maar die ding het aangegaan. Maar as ander mense wat in ICU is, ons moet vir hulle wakker maak. So dit is geen die indruk, die wanindruk wat hulle wil skep, is dat ek is nou teen Afrikaans. Hoe kan ek teen Afrikaans is en ek praat Afrikaans? Ek het my matriek geskryf in Afrikaans en is dit klomp malligheid. As ons vra, antwoord maar net die vraag, soos ons vir stoei, wrestling. Ons het geld gevat van stoei af, so ons antwoord die vraag. Stoei het ons 'n vraag geantwoord, toe gee ons vir hulle meer geld. Baie simpel. Niemand is teen niemand. Ons moet nie alles politiek wil maak nie. Ek is baie lief vir Afrikaans, bitterlik lief vir Afrikaans en vir die Afrikaanse taal. Dankie.
We give money where there is a need. That's what Minister is saying. Questions? Yes, sir. The roving mic, please.
Is there?
Good afternoon, everyone. Minister, you've spoken about, of course, the need for corporate South Africa to put their back and also put their weight behind supporting South African sports. But you mentioned a lot of SAFA as well. And of course, both of them are innocent until proven otherwise, but they are in court, the president of SAFA and also the financial officer of SAFA is in court for fraud. So when such things are happening, and there's also, excuse me, federations where a president is suspended for alleged maladministration, then how does corporate South Africa get behind that? You know, as much as allegations, but of course they have to protect themselves as well. So, do you think we have a leadership crisis basically in South African sports, or a leadership issue when you consider all of that, and how does that influence the lack of funding?
Thank you very much for your question. I do think that, I don't think we have a leadership crisis in South African sport. You have people like, I'll make you an example, was the PSL. We have the best run league on the continent in the PSL. When you see the under-17s and under-14s, under-17s and under-20s, it is the visionary leadership of the Disky League. You see the fruits of the Disky League now in the under 17s, under 20s. So Dr. Irvin Khoza and them has made us the envy of leagues in Africa. Rugby, President Mark Alexander. Cricket, the Richards. And even I must say it, Saskok, Barry Hendricks and them, they've taken over the rot where people, I'm told, were buying Rolls Royces with the money of Saskok, I'm told. But I must give it to Saskok that they have tried to turn it around. Sometimes too slow for my liking, but they are honest people. To come to your question about people being in court, look, I always say to people, FIFA does not want government interference. Once I will be the most hated man if I interfere there and we are not going to the World Cup. The people that were saying to me after the deduction of the points, Minister, wake up. You must investigate them. People were flooding my social media. You must investigate them. The next day when I ask questions, they're like, after we qualified, they say, no, stay away. You're going to get us disqualified. You must know this minister does not know what he's doing. What about this minister? He's a fool. So I'm saying to you, FIFA runs football. That's a fact. I don't like it, but that is what we've signed up for. We are now going to be the second country in the world to have a football ombudsman. The UK has successfully, through the parliament, passed legislation to have a football ombudsman. We are going to the UK to go and learn and see best practices and how they managed to do that. Our constitution says you are innocent until proven guilty. That's what our constitution says. That's not McKenzie. FIFA looks at our constitution. They don't look at your feelings or my feelings. Sorry, FIFA look at their constitution. So if the constitution of FIFA feels, not only did he keep Denny Jordan, they promoted him into another committee of FIFA. That must tell you what FIFA think of Denny Jordan. What I think of Denny Jordan and what you think is irrelevant to who he works for FIFA. And I know it's a national asset. Many of us complain, but I'm just giving you the raw facts. Do I think on a personal level there's a crisis? I don't think there's a crisis. In fact, I can tell you there's rising of our sport. We've got very good people running our sports in this country. Thank you. Let me just take the question.
Thank you very much, Minister Tisetso Malepa from City Press. Just on that note that FIFA frowns upon government interference. I remember, if you remember in cricket, 4 or 5 years ago, they had serious problems, and the then minister, the late Minister Mthethwa, was able to disband the then cricket board and put in an interim structure without getting in the way, without interfering in the eyes of International Cricket Council. Is there something you could do or you could have done following that method from the late Minister Mthethwa? And secondly, yes, SAFA President Jordan has been promoted, as you say, but we are talking about an organization whose president and head of finance are in and out of court for fraud and corruption and others. But as the ministry, you keep pumping money into that organization. What do you say to the taxpayer? How can you assure the taxpayer that every cent of the money from government will be accounted for when the head of finance is in and out of court for fraud and corruption?
Thank you very much. Let me start with cricket and FIFA. It's not the same thing. India tried to intervene and interfere. What did FIFA do? Immediately, when the Indian government didn't want the Secretary General of the Indian Federation, they then prevented him from going in the door. What did FIFA do? They suspended them. Same time, cricket operates under different rules. And I will make you an example. There's certain things you can get away with in other sporting codes, which you can't get away with in football. Now you are saying I'm pumping money. Let's dissect your statement. Every year, during the times of the late Natim Tetwa, Fikile Mbalula, Paul Mashatile, an amount of 5 million was given to SAFA, or less. It is just every year there's an escalation. Peace Mabe and Gayton McKenzie comes in. We give them the 5 million as legislated in agreement with us and Treasury. December last year, Christmas, I hear a rumor, which I confirmed first, that some country which I'm not allowed to name here wants Hugo Bruce to go and coach them. And Hugo Bruce was saying he's going nowhere. But then I'm hearing Hugo Bruce has not been paid. Helman Mkelele has not been paid. The players has not been paid. The women's team has not been paid. It is Christmas, 5 to Christmas. What do I do as a minister? I can't run the risk of losing Bruce, losing Mkelele, losing our players. Christmas, these people have delivered. What do? I say, I'm giving you an advance to pay the salaries before Christmas of the players. They paid the salaries. Everybody was happy. We lost nobody. So I didn't pump taxpayers' money without cause. In fact, everybody was paid. Lydia, the CEO, then sent me the proof. They've paid the players. This time, this is the first time we're giving them money. They never asked for the money. I know how they struggle, how some of these players are struggling. To prepare for the World Cup, you leave your children behind, you leave your family behind, you represent us. There's no sense of this government that SAFA will embezzle. If you can show me as a journalist, here they've embezzled the money, trust me, I will then stop giving them money. So to tell you, the reason why there's a football ombudsman for the first time in the world in the UK, it's for this type of problems. I've met with the UK minister that spearheaded Honorable Peacock. I sat down with her for 2 hours to get an understanding, how did you do that? I realized that it needs a broader audience. I intend now to bring the broader audience for us to do that. I can assure you that SAFA has turned the corner as far as I'm concerned. Look at the results on the field. Off field, it's the business of FIFA. I would love to get in there, but I can't. You are the one that's going to write the headline. We are being suspended because of McKenzie. Thank you very much. Right. I said 3 things to you. You quote only one. I said to you, the 3 things I said to you was, 1, Lydia, the CEO, has accounted for the first money we've given to them. The second thing I said to you, I said, there's no money that will be embezzled by us, by FIFA, that we give them. And the third thing I said to you, that if you find any, let me know. So I'm telling you, the first money I've given them, they've accounted for. But I'm even saying, in the event that they embezzle money, your job as a journalist is to uncover that rot and to show it to me. And my job as the minister will then be to take action and show FIFA. FIFA, we gave them money, they embezzled the money. That is what I'm saying. I'm not saying they will not under no circumstances, but if they do, and you tell me, it will be on me to take action. Thank you.
Minister, Velila here from SABC. Yes. Mr. Just on this matter, you serve in different structures in the SADC region and also at continental level, where you are a committee of sports ministers. And the issue of interference and also FIFA, I think has also impacted other countries stronger on the continent because they invest more money into football. Is it a systematic issue that you feel that as ministers of sport on the continent, you need to delve deeper into it because taxpayers' money is being thrown into this sporting code and there's lack of accountability? And I'm saying this question, I'm asking this question because I know that we operate differently here at home. The biggest federations in terms of their funding is coming from their sponsors. But when I look at what is happening now at ASA and the speed in which SASCOC has acted with, but it cannot be done in other bigger sporting codes, including football, it tells you that there's a big systematic issue of them and others that cannot be controlled in the same way.
Thank you very much. Well, let me first congratulate you and just thank you because of how you've explained the FIFA interference issue to the South African public. I read your piece on if there was interference. And the way that you explained it, I think for me that was just excellent journalism. So I want to thank you for that. When you go to these meetings of the ministers, I can tell you now, football controls this continent. What we put in our football is a pittance compared to what much poorer countries are putting in. These people put in everything. Some countries, they even call the players privately, the presidents. Why did you lose? President Ramaphosa, I sat with him yesterday, when the cricket, the ladies, did not win. After the department went to go support them. And the first words he said when the game was over, he's like, they made us very proud. They made us very proud that they've reached the pinnacle of this tournament. And that's the type of temperament we have towards football, towards sport in this country. So I'm saying to you, the UK is, if not the top, they're in the top 3 of soccer leagues in the world. The biggest teams from this world come from UK football. And even them are very circumspect when dealing with these issues. Hence, they went the parliamentary route. So they didn't just go straight into FIFA. The countries that has been banned, a minister just wakes up tomorrow and say, oh, Danny, pack your bags, you must go. Then Danny just say, I've been fired by the sports minister. FIFA will not even have a hearing. They will just stop us. So I'm saying to you that I don't want to go the route of going through African ministers to discuss, because something I gossip with my friends, I said, you can work with a minister. I'll make you an example. Malawian minister. Great minister, doing great jobs. We all had plans. Next moment on the WhatsApp group is like, thank you very much for your collegiality. We've lost elections, I'm being removed. So working with a minister sometimes, even me, I might not even be the minister during the World Cup, but I might make plans with the World Cup. In G20, last week in Durban, I had a meeting, I think, with the minister of the Netherlands. And then she said, Minister, I would love to give you my 100% assurance, but let's wait for elections tonight. I might not come back. I was not sleeping that night, because there was a big benefit for South Africa. I was also waiting for the Netherlands elections, and she's not coming back. So I'm saying to you that the route that we and myself and the Deputy Minister has taken is, let us follow what the UK has done in order to deal with matters in football that we are unhappy about. Thank you. The lady?
Jabulongita from News 24.
Oh.
A question, Minister. A while ago, you mentioned with certainty that VAR is going to be implemented at the start of this season, and when you said that, there was no formal structure, no budget for VAR. So where was that coming from, and why should South Africans believe you that, as you've said now, that it's going to happen for the upcoming season? Thank you.
Let me tell you, by the time I said VAR will be implemented, I, as the minister, thought as soon as I bring the money, VAR will be there. I was then made aware, no, it doesn't work like that. The processes has changed. New rules govern VAR now. You as a minister can't do it. You have to do it through SAFA. You have to do it through CAF. So many rules of VAR has changed in the time that I was made aware that we need money for VAR. The second part of your question, so I was wrong. The second part of your question, why should you believe me? I mentioned names of people that are working on this thing. I mentioned Treasury. I can't lie about Treasury. Treasury has given I can even share that letter with you if it's allowed. I'll just check with the team. I'm a person that loves football, so I'm saying, I even asked them, will we be able to in January, in February, March, April? They said no. There is a different way, because you can't start a league without VAR, and want to end the league with VAR. So after June, or when is the league ending? June next year. When we come back, I can tell you there will be VAR. In fact, to even give you more information, the leadership, the persons responsible for VAR are going to Spain on the 15th of November, to go and do a stress test on the model. There's Hawkeye, there's different models of VAR that we've come to learn. But the one that they have chosen, they are going to do a stress test on it to see is it fine for the South Africa. On the 15th of November, you can call me, they'll be there in Spain to do a stress test. So you gotta, the evidence is there. And I've given the money. Thank you.
My name is Utwaita Dlulane, and I'm an independent film producer. Sorry.
Yes.
I've got two questions for you, Minister. The first question is, are there any plans to incorporate African indigenous games into the bigger conversations of sports? And my second question, as a person coming from advertising, is, are there any plans for us to have unions in advertising? I'm not talking specifically about actors and that kind of media, but specifically advertising, as we do not have. And sometimes some of our contracts do state that we cannot have unions. So are there any plans to rewrite some of those contracts?
Right. I will answer the union question. They will take the one of the... Yeah. The Deputy Minister will take the one of the indigenous games, because she's always been the one fighting for that, and I'll answer the one of the unions. You know?
Okay, thank you very much. Yes, there is a big move in terms of trying to promote and popularize indigenous games. We currently on a roadshow where we take sports department to the people, and by doing so, we also host different sporting codes, including indigenous games. We've just recently had one big event in Magaliesberg. The other one, I know it was in Cape Town. I was not part of the Cape Town one. And as part of the G20 as well, taking sports, promoting conversations about creatives and sports, we also promote indigenous games, and we are working with schools and federations in doing so.
As far as actors are concerned, and you said actors? Yes. No, well, I'm going to give the same answer. I want to use actors as an example. There was a film being shot in South Africa, and it stopped because the union in LA told all actors to stop working. And in South Africa, if you speak on behalf of the advertising world, if you speak, you are being targeted. You are being denied work. You are being seen as a problem. So our actors, our people in advertising, our people in filmmaking, you know, there are people that really stands up for them. But when they stand up, the very same people that stand up for justice and for rectification are the ones that get branded, and they operate like a cabal. They talk to each other. Some of these companies don't take Martha, don't take Billy. He's very problematic. He fights for their rights, like our people don't have rights. I want to say to you that there's a big move at a very sensitive stage. From the Copyright Amendment Bill to how we deal with actors, actresses, musicians in this country. And we can't run away from it. Soon we will come out and say, these are the fruits of this discussion. But I want to say to you that I know you're also one of the people that gets targeted because you're standing up. Don't give up. We need people like you to fight for a rightful place of the advertising pie, to fight for the rights of people. You know, a friend of us, she was in, I don't want to put her on the spot, but she was in an advert in the UK when she was 2 years old. She's still getting royalties. She was a baby in that advert. Here by us, you have Henry Kele. Everybody knows Henry Kele, Shaka Zulu. Shaka Zulu is being shown all over the world. But I don't think the children of Henry Kele is benefiting. And we don't smile about those issues. We are, together with the Deputy Minister, we are correcting those. It is, I understand the impatience of some of the people in the creative sector, particularly with me, because I came in with high hopes. But I understand that no person can change the wrong that has been done to you over all these years within a space of 1 year. But us getting medical insurance, hospital benefits, sorry, us getting death benefits is our way of saying, while we fight this lion here, have peace of mind for when you are sick. For us to say, you don't work out of your boot. Let us do, these are all measures. For us to say to the legends, last Christmas, there's 100,000 for you as legends. Because you can't perform anymore going around the country. For us to go to the boxers where they don't have shoes. I saw some of the boxers wearing torn shoes, big names. We said there's 100,000 for you, start a business. So it's not that we are indifferent to the suffering happening. Thank you very much.
Vatang Obeni from ENCA. Minister, just last week, the president of ASA was served with a notice of suspension. And I know you've been quite vocal about the issues around financial mismanagement or allegations around that. Have you spoken to the ASA board and to SASCOC around that? And what are your thoughts on the James Mloyi suspension?
Yes, no, I was very vocal about that. I've spoken to SASCOC, I wrote to SASCOC. SASCOC, Barry Hendricks wrote back to me, and he assured me they're going to investigate the matter. He did investigate the matter. He sent the report to me. I must tell you, very transparently, I've had sight of the report. It is dire. It speaks of people using the card at, I think, Foschini and a tavern. And a letter was issued by SASCOC, which I think was good governance, to James Molloy to say he should tell us, he should tell SASCOC why he should not be suspended. The 7 days expired, I think, yesterday or Friday. I can assure you, while you are here, I'm going to make a call. Because once you've given somebody 7 days, before you leave here, Charles, can you just make a call and find out what is, because 7 days has expired. Just check the mails. We must be transparent. What has the decision been? Because for you to give somebody 7 days, it shows you think there's cause, there's reason, and he needs to give you reasons. And 7 days has expired. We will find out now, and I will let you know what the board has decided. But the report is bad.
How's it, Minister? Nsako from YFM. I just wanted to find out about the work that's been done by the F1 bid steering committee. I think you had promised South Africans 2026, but has it moved to a different year, or is 2026 still on track?
No, I think you mean, we said 2027.
Okay.
2027. What has happened, we've met with F1 a month ago. We met with F1 a month ago in Singapore. We had one of the most fruitful meetings. We sat down. They gave us a lot of questions to answer. We are within the time to answer those questions. I am personally of the opinion that it is Africa's turn. Cabinet has come through. Cabinet has given us the biggest document we needed, which is the green light from Cabinet. And also, corporate South Africa has come through with 2.1 billion. But we have subsequently learned that there's still other issues. I can tell you now that the discussion, it's not final that it's going to be Kalami. It's not final. It is Kalami, I thought was final. But different cases are being made by other provinces, including Free State has put in and Cape Town has come with a very compelling bid of why it should be in Cape Town. Kalami's got a very compelling bid why it should be here. And F1 was clear, sort out your house issues where this thing is going to be. When we meet you in January, end of January, we want you to have taken a final decision of where you think it will be. We have spoken to the people in Cape Town. We are speaking to the people of the Free State soon. But I have managed to see the Cape Town bid very compelling, just as the one in Joburg. So, whether it's 2027 or 2028, it's definitely coming to Africa.
Good afternoon, Minister. It's Ndibone Chitenje here from I Go Football Institute. So I have two questions based on similar principles on support and monetization. The first question is on, obviously, as an investor in SAFA, or rather taxpayers are the investor. As an investor, I believe that you have to obviously have check and balances and also accountability. I want to find out what kind of support have you given to SAFA just beyond the beyond money that requires them to be profitable as a brand, because obviously we can't keep investing in something that isn't giving return on investment. So what kind of support have you given to grow SAFA, the brand? You mentioned Dr. Patrice Motsepe, who's turned the curve on CAF and made it more profitable. And that's why you see the prize money of CAF and many other sponsors getting involved in that regard. That's the first question. The second question is, we have a number of specialized schools, art schools in South Africa. One of them being Pro Arte Alphen Park in Menlo Park, not far from here. With the rise of sort of the pressure of STEM subjects in schools, what support are you also giving to those specialized schools in giving the children support in terms of how they turn those gifts, those creative gifts, into a profitable business? As you know, that obviously one of the NDP goals is to eliminate poverty and inequality. And those subjects or areas of the creative subjects are seen as ones that are not profitable in terms of making an income. So what kind of support are you giving those students as they transition into varsity and into the real world? Thank you.
Right. I will answer you very briefly on the issue of support. If you go through, as you rightly say, the National Development Plan makes mention of alleviating poverty. And all our dealings is guided by that. If you look at the budget that we give out and have given out, and previous ministers, for special schools, for schools of art, it's massive, but it can still improve. You talk about schools that's involved in art schools. The one in Joburg, the biggest one, the National School of Arts, had run the risk of closing. And the Deputy Minister and myself, although it doesn't fall under us, we funded it to keep the doors open. They are now in a healthy position where they're self-sustainable. If we didn't intervene, they would have closed their doors and 500 students would have been sent home. Then your issue of checks and balances. I just mentioned the CEO of SAFA, that we have a very good relationship. And we ask questions once we've given money. We've only given them the 5 million in my term and the DM's term, and they've given us what they've done with the money. This money is for player support that we're giving now. All I want to see is that the player says, I'm not going to assume they're going to do it. I'm going to ask, did the players get the money? And one thing about players, I tell you, they talk. Minister, what about shelter and money? We didn't get the money. So you ask, what ROI did we get? As government is not in the business of making profits. When that day when Bafana qualified, you jumped up in the air. You jumped up in the air. I was sweating more than the players that was playing. We were all happy. So we invest in the happy index of the country. Our return on investment is South Africans being happy. You know, when ministers meet with international ministers, once you move to countries like Brazil, England, you speak to those ministers, the conversation always turned to football. Always. And you said there, and they say, Minister, did your team qualify? Now you say, yeah, we qualify. We've got 24 games. That's also a return on investment. South Africa, you know, we've had the best World Cup of all countries. I was having dinner in Brazil with Argentina and I think Russia leadership and in Brazil. And we had a discussion about they had a discussion about which World Cup was the best. And they were talking about Argentina, Russia, and Brazil. Nobody was talking about South Africa. I said, hold up. And I saw the waiter has a soccer jersey on of Brazil. I asked him, do you follow football? He says, yes. He says, big football supporter, I go to all the World Cups. I said, which World Cup was the best one you ever attended? He was quiet. I said, give us a song of any World Cup you can remember. He said, Waka, Waka, eh. So it shows you that South Africa, we are not only capable of hosting, we bring the vibe to football. We brought the Vuvuzela. They were so jealous they had to cancel our Vuvuzelas because nobody has ever brought that vibe to African football. But I think we should do more when it comes to investing. Particularly, you say one of the schools, I would like to have a chat with you afterwards to understand more about the school. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Last one from me, Minister. I do hope that you will grant us one-on-one as Sunday publications after this session. So my question, I would like to go back to Athletics South Africa and how SASCOC dealt with the matter. You would be aware of the issues that have engulfed netball. We have a situation where the president of a federation was suspended and the federation went to elections while the disciplinary proceedings of the suspended president are still ongoing. Why did SASCOC not deal with the matter, the Netball South Africa matter, the same way they did with Athletics South Africa?
Right. Firstly, you must understand, and I want to come up for SASCOC here. When there's elections happening and the date has been set, elections does not wait for McKenzie to finish his legal matters. If there's now presidential elections 2029 and I want to stand and I've got the issue, they can't wait for me. No, the elections will happen when McKenzie is done with his. No, the life goes on. SASCOC was right in how they handled the matter. SASCOC can't wait for one person. And they ran the risk. Netball, International Netball Federation was clear. They will expel us if we don't allow elections to take place. We are a constitutional democracy. And in our sport, that's very evident. So we can't be waiting for people. Now imagine every time a person must stand, we must wait for them to. No, that is not going to happen. So I think SASCOC has really handled the issue very correctly. It's not the end of the world. Nobody's born to be a president. Now you are born, this post is for you. The people must not think that certain posts are for them. There's going to be another, this is not the last or the first netball elections. The lady that was not standing, she can stand next time. She's still very young and she's smart. So we mustn't now stop all the processes because of this matter. It doesn't work like that. Then the second one, you say SASCOC, why didn't they act? You can't, you know, I've got boys and I've got girls as children. My one girl is only interested in school. She's only interested in books. My boys play football. They would buy, I had to buy them, I buy them boots. And they will tell you, I want this boot that. They give you the size and the description and the color. And those boots are so expensive sometimes. But these are all my children that I love. But if you look at the money I spend on these ones, it's much more than I spend on this one. So which means even you don't treat people the same. That doesn't mean you love them less. It means that you understand. I think it was Rassi Erasmus that made the best example for me. He said, one of his children has a medical condition, I think he said, and he doesn't give them equal money. He gives the one with a medical condition more money because she has to go sometimes for checkup. So you give people by the situation. SASCOC has handled the situation for me with ASA very good. They've handled the issue with netball very good. To answer that was the question. And your last question was, will there be one-on-ones? Of course, yes, there will be. The question I've just gotten, the report. The board of ASA has received the report. They went through it. They saw a need, the board, not SASCOC, the board of ASA. They saw a need to ask questions and to ask him to give reasons why he was not suspended. I was just told now, fresh, breaking news, that there's an intention to suspend him. So thank you for your question. You heard it here from the happy minister.
Good morning, Minister. Morning, Minister and DM.
Write the breaking news so long while you give others a chance. No, I'm just saying you can give your editor breaking news. Well,
my name is Maurice Khoda from Now in SA. Minister, I was appealing to the department, can we please work on a legislation? Sometime last year in December, there was a stadium that was banned in Northern Cape. I actually took pictures of that article and I sent them to both your chief of staff and your advisor, Charles, where I was trying to make the department aware that in our country today, you find that there are so many people who are coming from outside to come and organize events that do not happen. An example was a Banner Boy concert which happened at FNB Stadium. And that promoter was from Nigeria. He was arrested. But this thing is not only about people from outside. Now recently, one concert in Pretoria, the Sunbet Arena, did not happen. And people were struggling to get their refunds. The second one, which is now recent, there's a concert which was called Hey Neighbor. Again, the public is struggling to get their refunds. All this is happening because there's no legislation, Minister. To make things worse, these people, I'm not going to call them promoters, they've even come up with also registering a ticket seller. They sell tickets. When people buy them, they take the money and use them for the concert. And now when the concert gets canceled, the public doesn't get their refunds, which is what is currently happening. So I'm appealing to the department that legislation is so critical, Minister, so that this thing can stop at its own tracks right now.
It's very critical. It's very critical. Nigerians can't come here and have concerts. It shouldn't happen. They can't come and have concerts and take South Africans' money. Even Zimbabweans, we can't allow that. Even South Africans can't do that. So I'm glad that you brought that under my attention. I will meet with you afterwards so we can act with speed and to sort out this problem with South Africa. I saw something about Kanye West coming. Others says he's not coming. It is all the stories. I called Ellis Park Stadium. I said, has the stadium been booked? They said the stadium has not been booked. So tomorrow I will tweet. I will tweet tomorrow so people can know, is Kanye West coming or not? I saw that. It's a very important point you are raising. Thank you for raising it. But I have to move with speed. And we'll have a chat afterwards. Thank you.
Question for the DM.
Yep. Thank you.
You've been quite vocal over the professionalization of women's sport, especially football, cricket and rugby. There seems to be no movement from the federations when it comes to that. How far are you in your conversations with them, and how soon are we going to see the professionalization of football, cricket and rugby?
Well, I wouldn't say that there is no movement. We can see the light at the end of the tunnel. Just to mention, cricket they are doing their best, followed by rugby, and soccer is still lacking. We had convened a meeting with the three federations, and unfortunately SAFA was out of the country. And we felt that, if others are doing well, why should we call them and punish them? Whereas the targeted ones, the most wanted federation is not available. So it is work in progress. As the 7th Parliament, we've committed that we are going to revive policies that are favorable towards women's sports. And we also do not want to miss an opportunity. And thank you very much for this question, because we feel that each and every platform, each and every opportunity that we get, we need to talk openly about equal payment, equal opportunities, and empowerment and fair treatment of sportsmen, of course, and women. So it's an ongoing struggle, and it is something that I cannot on my own win. I need civil society, I need unions, I need federations to understand, the need for them to treat women equally as they treat the male sports players. So I'm appealing for women organizations to support this fight, and if we are united, definitely we will definitely win this ongoing challenge that we've been facing for the past 31 years of our democracy. It cannot be, and it stops with this 7 administration. Thanks.
Okay, we've got lunch. Now I'm going to depend on you whether you still want to continue with questions, or we can have lunch whilst you are having one-on-ones with Minister and Deputy Minister. Whilst you're having lunch, you can have one-on-ones with Minister and the Deputy Minister. And remember, DM is going to go and welcome the cricket team later this evening. So we can have lunch and one-on-ones, or we can continue with the questions if that's what you want. My suggestion is that let's have lunch. Let's take maybe two last questions, and then we have lunch, and then we continue with one-on-ones. Is that fine?
Yeah, so, very.
I hope so. Yes. Minister, you beautifully acknowledging Dr. Petrus Motsepe as the CAF president and as currently as the only country in Africa that has hosted the World Cup. There's a feeling that we've been relegated to just other countries that cannot afford to bid for football tournaments, especially at CAF level. Morocco are the new headquarters of African football. I don't recall South Africa having hosted anything recently, and at a time when our national teams are doing well. And we tried to get to the bottom of this because people were saying Morocco is being favored. But the word coming out is that South Africa is not bidding. Even when there seems to be interest to bid, looks like South Africa, maybe they are not affording these bids. I mean, how important is to show this support in a tangible way to the current CAF president?
Thank you very much. I think that's a very good question. It is true. South Africa has not been hosting nothing. Morocco has been hosting because you don't just host, you apply. With the Government of National Unity, I can tell you this is a cabinet directive, straight from the president, where he said, make South Africa, with my appointment and with the DM's appointment, make South Africa a hive of events again. This is when I was appointed. Minister, I want to host big events. Minister, I want things to happen. So I'm going to tell you, and I think the people can back me out when I say to you that Travis Scott, Chris Brown, Babyface, there's a line of people coming to South Africa now. It is not just coming because we are making it easy now for them to come. We have so many people coming still next year, the year thereafter. Things are happening. We've got the first country to host Live Golf. You know, people don't understand. We sold 75,000 tickets. It's a record for Live Golf. Live Golf, unlike any other competition, Live Golf, you don't wonder, is Bryson the Sambo if he's going to come? Is Oosthuizen going to come? You know they're coming. 54 of the world's top golfers are descending in Gauteng for the first Live Golf tournament on the African continent. F1, we are in sensitive stages of negotiation. Next year, we have the inauguration Nelson Mandela Football Challenge. Very soon, you will hear the names that are coming to South Africa of international teams coming to play against our big teams in South Africa. We are applying for the Olympics 2036. We've met with the IOC. The IOC president met with the South African president. I'm mentioning to you that it is true what you are saying, Elil. But now there's new sheriffs in town. We're coming with making things happen. There's going to be events, non-stop events, big events are being planned. The biggest, Africa doesn't have a major concert like the likes of Burning Man, Rock Rio, all those type of big concerts you get, Glastonbury. It's now, next year we are planning to have the first one. So I'm mentioning these things to you to show you that people like Jessica Mtaung came to me and she said, Minister, we have to really compete with Morocco. Can you support me? I said, you go tell me where I need to support you at. So that we can hold the arms of Patrice Motsepe up high for the work that he has done. But we mustn't forget he's not there for South Africa. He's there for Africa. So we're not only doing it for him, we just want to make him proud also. So on that note, thank you very much. Thank you for taking the time to view this as important to come here. And by ending, I just want to say to the women's cricket team, the Deputy Minister is going to meet them at the airport now. I want to say to them, you've made us proud. You've just missed it. Laura, the clerk, all of you, I want to say to you, we're very, very proud of you. And on that note, I want to thank the Deputy Minister for making me always realize we men sometimes, we get lost in our maleness, for a lack of better description. The Deputy Minister is one person that no conversation will end about sports without women representation. She's not just talking when she sees the media. She fights for women. Even those bonuses and disability. Even this bonus, she was the one that inserted, making sure that not only Bafana get. Thank you very much. I will do the one-on-ones. Zimasa, you'll just arrange. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Food is served. It's here. One-on-ones. DM is here and Minister is here. Oh. So DM is still around. DM and Minister are available for interviews. Food is served. Thank you very much. CEO Jane Mufamati, thank you very much for letting us use your wonderful establishment, the Freedom Park.